Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Rise Above the Ranks presented by Estate Media. I'm here with David, and we are thrilled to welcome a very, very special guest, Joe Skousen. Joe is the CEO and the founder of Inside Real Estate, and Joe has now driven the vision and the growth of one of the leading technology companies in the real estate industry. He has over 20 years of experience growing Inside Real Estate to over 400,000 active customers, completing over $50 billion in transaction volume and over $500 million in commission income. Joe, thank you for joining us today. We're happy to have you. I want to dive straight into this segment, and I'd love to just start by you telling us a little bit about yourself, Joe, where you're from, and how you got into this crazy industry.
Oh, well, thanks very much. It's fantastic to be with you guys, and this is a fun time in the space. I mean, we were just talking before we came on, but I've been in this space now for decades.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been a single year where we woke up and there wasn't some headline that was kind of all over, the news. And so, but I would say, James, kind of the commission suits and settlements are kind of old news now. Is that fair to say? Maybe it's a little fresh still. But those are kind of old news. Everyone's adjusting. Rates are getting in order. I was kind of earlier today, I was like, man, what headline are we going to find? There's like Shohei Ohtani's 50-50, 50 homers, 50 base steals, maybe, and people are suing over that. Maybe that's our next headline. But a lot going on in the space for sure. Look, a little about me and kind of how I got into the industry. So, early on, many years ago, I worked with a company providing a little bit of tech to this industry, and that company actually no longer exists. But I saw a few things when I was there early on. I saw that this industry was full of go-getters. I loved that, and I saw that there were a bunch of competitive drivers out there, but that this space, kind of relative to other industries, had just an enormous amount of data and complexity and things like that really caused the agents, teams, and brokers to have a great need for tech that could solve real problems, but it had to be kind of modern and great tech mixed with solutions, kind of an understanding of the space and ability to apply that. So that's kind of what led me in early on. And I would say there's lots of stories to tell. I won't tell them all, but your early years of business, kind of like your early years of life, shape you, And one of these early years in the business, one of the things I'll never forget really is, whether by intent or fate, we decided to get out with our customers belly to belly. And there was one year where I was out in front of over 300 groups that year. So that was a very busy travel year. It was not like the scalable SaaS model at that time. That was getting out in person. And I'll tell you what I saw, though, is I got out in front of a lot of people, belly to belly. Some of those groups were like, 2 or 3 agents. Some of them were big kind of halls with a bunch of people in them. But I could see the kind of DNA of real estate face to face. And I saw the brand new agent, and I saw the top producing kind of, more like, personas somewhat like you, but I saw a whole bunch of people and saw them face to face. And for me, that was a very defining moment that has stuck with me throughout the years. We're scaling and growing as a business these days, but I think one of the things that has always driven me and driven Inside Real Estate is not losing sight of that. You got to make a difference every single day. You can't just kind of scale and grow and lose sight of that. So that's a little bit of kind of where I come from and getting into the space.
Joe, it's great to have you on, by the way. Thank you again, just to echo what James said. And what you've done is incredible. It really, really is. Especially, for 2 decades, you've been running Inside Real Estate, which is amazing.
Thanks.
For those less familiar, can you describe, inside real estate, what it really is, the core of it, what really inspired you, and how it operates today?
Yeah, sure. So inside real estate's, we look at it as the industry's tech partner, and the partner side of that matters a lot. Like, it means a lot of specific things to us that I won't bore you with all the details, but that's kind of how we view ourselves. And so, between things going on with legislation and commission lawsuits and portals and all of those sorts of things that are going on in the space today, all these shifting trends, this kind of partner DNA that we started with really defines us still today. So today we power technology solutions and tech-powered solutions for brokerages, teams, and agents. It's about a little over 450,000 users across the U.S. and Canada, and we power solutions, everything from kind of front end website, CRM, listing marketing solutions, all the way through deals and commissions and accounting in the back office. So kvCORE, BoomTown, BrokerMint are a lot of the products that we have, and just recently we rolled out BoldTrail, which is pretty cool. So so it's a set of the solutions we drive, and we try to power those for getting close to 500,000 of the users in the space.
Absolutely unbelievable. And our team have had great success. I don't even know if you know this, but we are up and running on BoldTrail, which we're really excited about. And obviously, that was quite a big announcement to the space that you released BoldTrail to the world. Can you explain to our audience, which is predominantly real estate agents, like what separates BoldTrail from the rest of those companies out there, or even your own companies out there?
Yeah, it's a good question. Over the years, James, David, we brought a lot of solutions together, right? And as a software business, you go and you build a lot of solutions, and as you scale out as a SaaS business, and in our position, we've always been an innovator and tried to lead with innovation. And so we've built out a lot of technology. We've also acquired a number of businesses over the years. And so at the point where we had kind of brought together many of the best solutions in the space, what we also have always believed is, when you're kind of a scaling SaaS business, you can kind of bring those solutions together in a what I lovingly call an acquire and wire fashion, where it's loosely wired together, this kind of disparate set of solutions. I won't point any fingers out there, but there's a bunch of those out there. And then you can do it in a seamless ecosystem kind of way. We've always believed that the seamless ecosystem is far more valuable to our partners and clients. And so after 16 years of bringing together a lot of those solutions, we said it's time to kind of we had integrated many of those. We said it's time to bring those the rest of the way together, and kind of, in addition to fusing and melding those together, bring some capabilities that were pretty exciting to the table. So that's what BoldTrail really is. It's the best of all of those brought together. It's really allowed ourselves, we've allowed ourselves to bring kind of not just the features and functionality, but the best of our teams from these various businesses, the Inside Real Estate and BoomTown and kvCORE and BrokerMint, and all of these teams really focused in the same direction. It's been phenomenal. It takes longer and more brain damage bringing these businesses together than you'd ever want to believe, but it's been phenomenal. And so we're really excited about where it's headed.
And Joe, one thing that really stuck out to us in our team as far as the features go is Core Home.
Yeah.
Like us, we always believe that the relationship with your client doesn't end once the transaction does. In fact, that's really where it really starts. So can you share a little bit about how this supports the long-term relationships with clients following the transaction?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like I got to ask you guys that too. I mean, you guys are in there using it,
True.
Look, that's you guys should be the ones instructing all of us here. But look, I would say a couple of things, and then love to get your guys' take on it too. But I would say a couple of things. the first thing, when sometimes people will ask us what's easiest to use, or the first thing I should use in the tech and the software. And the first thing I would say is, we have always built with this idea that in an ideal world, some future world we may never get to, if an agent never had to log into the tech again, that would be like their nirvana. They're like, please don't make me deal with that. Please and thank you. We're not quite there, and I don't know that we'll ever be fully there, but there's a lot of this tech, like the AI-powered assistants and the mobile apps and our behavioral automation and all those things that are there and people get a lot of benefit of. What we're trying to do with all of that is really free the agent up to work in that sacred relationship with their client as much as possible. And what Core Home does is Core Home brings together, frankly, quite a bit of technology, everything from like the search experience to the home I'm living in, to my transaction pizza tracker, to my maintenance schedules. It kind of brings all that together with chat experience with my agent. And we're kind of like, look, if you can spend all your time as an agent having conversations and your clients can look at you as the professional they want for their home forever, that's ideal, right? This lifetime client relationship, that's ideal. And frankly, there's a lot of the other stuff with the tech that we can automate. There's a lot of things we can automate for you. So that's kind of the concept behind it. But hopefully you guys are starting to get your hands around Core Home a bit with BoldTrail and seeing that on your side too.
Yeah, we are. I think, as agents, and you kind of touched on this, but as agents, I think the key to success is working smart, right? We all know that we work hard. We all know how many hours a day we put into this business. We all know that one of the hardest things we all struggle with is having a healthy balance. And I think all of that starts with, how do I work smart, right?
Yeah.
You can all work hard, but how do I work smart? And I think that, having CRMs to put you into check of how to run more efficiently, having a software that is generating leads, those leads then go into the CRM, having marketing tools that make you more efficient as a team, for us at least, and this doesn't go for everybody, but for us as a team, we like to consider ourselves like a well-oiled machine, right? And so there are certain tech stacks out there now that allow you to become more efficient in the way that you run your business every day. And so we have just found that working with Inside Real Estate, and I don't want this to sound like an infomercial because it's not, but with these offshoots of BoldTrail and Core Home, it's just allowed us to become more efficient. And that to me is working smart. And that to me is the key to success in this business and what will separate you from the rest of the competition. That's for me. So That's where we have found this to be very useful.
I love that. I mean, to me, I think one of the things that you said is interesting and very indicative of where I think the industry is today and kind of has to be over the next while. You talk about your guys' business as a machine, right?
Yeah.
And it's like it has to, system and process has to really drive that, right? And I think one of the things that it's not a brand new concept to the space, and yet I think a lot of this, the kind of policies and these lawsuits and some of these things, part of what that's driven is there's less of an option in the future, I think, to be unprofessionalized in the space, right? I think that's one of the primary kind of outcomes of a lot of this is that you see folks who feel this push toward professionalization, and what that means is running their business like a machine. And I think sometimes they forget that their job, let's say if you're running a team or a brokerage or something, your job is to lead, but your business has to be powered by process.
Yeah.
Right? You lead, but you don't lead in every single activity. Your business has to be powered by process. If it's not, you're kind of screwed. You're kind of hosed, right? You're not going to make it all that far. And that's a big part of what we're always trying to kind of keep in our mind is like, we can build a bunch of tech. What we have to do is we have to build solutions, tech and frankly service too, that allows our clients and partners to kind of create those processes that they can just kind of build around and really professionalize.
Hey guys, meet BoldTrail Pro, a next generation platform built to power your entire business with powerful technology that agents, teams, and brokers actually use and love. You have everything from customizable websites to a powerful lead engine, AI-powered smart CRM, and a fully automated marketing suite, a seamlessly integrated front and back office, and marketplace add-ons and integrations to create your unique tech ecosystem.
BoldTrail's cutting-edge tools provide everything you need all in one place.
And just for our listeners, we now have an incredible promo code that will be sure to get you ahead for Q4.
Go to BoldTrail.com/blueprint to receive $3,000 off when you sign up. And that's an unbelievable offer, only available to all of you. So we recommend jumping on that and use the promo code Blueprint. That's BoldTrail.com/blueprint. What I love about your system, your company, your software is basically it's tailored. One can tailor it to their own needs, because listen, everyone at the end of the day works differently. It's just a fact. We all do the same thing. We sell houses, but everyone just has their own way to do it. It's personalized. I love the flexibility of what you've created, something that can really adapt to us. And that's what our team is actually, and us as well. This is what we've been working on the last couple of weeks, is really just honing it in and dialing it in to service exactly how we operate. And then you have an amazing efficiency that's created suddenly.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, there's no real excuse anymore when you have, software like you've created. Genuinely, I'm not just saying that again because we're on with you, but there's no excuse not to be streamlined, to be the most efficient version of your company and your team with what you've created, frankly.
Do you want to know one of the things? I appreciate that. And do you want to know one of the things I feel like one of the mistakes that I see teams and agents make as they try to go adopt tech, including ours? And I'll tell you, is the mistakes I see on that side and the mistakes my team makes too. I believe in transparency. So no, we're not perfect and we screw up all the time, right? But I think the biggest mistake that we see on a team and agent coming in to adopt this, or brokerages, is they come in and they do two things. First of all, they come in and they assume that they're going to implement the tech and it's just going to magically transform a bunch of stuff, right? They're like, where did the deals come from? They're showering across my back and shoulders, And we're kind of like, obviously you say it and you're like, that's never going to happen. But there is this expectation. The other thing they do is they come in and they say, oh, it didn't do exactly what I thought, and so it's a bug. And there's two problems with that. Usually what we find, the most successful people come in and they say, Joe or Joe's team, they come in and they say, this is the outcome I want to accomplish. Work as a partner with me to accomplish this outcome. And to your point, you can tailor the solution to fit your processes and needs a bit. When you get to that point where you've tailored it and you own it, it becomes that machine for you. It becomes well-oiled, and you just run that sort of thing. The mistake my team makes is they forget to ask the same reciprocating question. Look, someone reported a bug or an issue or a hey, it doesn't work exactly like I thought. Part of what we do when we do it best, we come in and we coach and we say, look, let's talk about the outcomes you want. And when you can do that from both sides, you end up with just this fantastic ecosystem of tech, and it's pretty robust. It can do what you need it to do.
I love that. I love that whole personalization. And there's really no excuse. I said it before. There's really no excuse not to be efficient with software like that.
Yeah, 100% agreed.
Agreed. And you've been touching on this since we started the interview here, which is the NAR ruling, which, you know what? I'm going to put it out there and say it's old news. We're all adapting. I can say out of every listing that we have, which is almost or over $1 billion in inventory, we've yet to have any client actually have any problem with it. And actually, every client that we have is offering an outside broker fee. But you shared a message after the NAR ruling. Can you share more of that, Joe, with our listeners, and where Inside Real Estate and BoldTrail stand with that?
Yeah, sure. We've had a couple of messages about it. if you want to know my like real position on this, it's have you guys ever read like Marcus Aurelius, the Meditations, or any of the Stoics? This is aging me.
Do we look like we meditate, Joe?
Well, I don't know. You should, but if for those listening, Meditations, Marcus Aurelius. So this is like the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. So this is like Stoic wisdom. But look, if I were to say anything, the crux of my message to the industry was there's another book called the Obstacle is the Way, by Ryan Holiday, if you want to go read that one. But the obstacle is the way. And what I mean by that is my message to the industry was basically, look, regardless of what I think about it personally, about the legislation or the lawsuits, regardless of what you think about it, regardless of what anyone thinks about it, the attorneys took the cash, whatever, it's done. And don't spend time trying to live in the past. This was kind of the message to the space. Win the future. This is actually an amazing opportunity to reshape yourself in your business. And I think people sometimes get so stuck in a concern or an obstacle that they lose sight of what the correlating opportunity is. I would say, how many times in your business have you had the combination of coverage from a tough market with high interest rates and industry changing legislation all at once? Because last I checked, for the last 10 years, one of the biggest problems that every broker and team was facing is they believed they needed to shift their model a little bit and shift their value prop. Yeah. But that's hard. And agents have a little trouble accepting that. And you worry about recruiting and retention and all those things. Like, don't miss the freaking opportunity that the market just gifted you to make a bunch of changes you probably should have made 10 years ago. Yeah. Like, now is that moment. And honestly, it's a once in a generation kind of moment or opportunity. And so some of those things are just a reality, regardless of what we think about them. But for me, that's kind of the crux of mine, is like, this obstacle is the way. It's like, yeah, this is a concern, something you got to shift around, but use this springboard off of that, because I'm really confident that ahead of us, we've got like the most profitable years for many people and the best years for your clients and consumers, So that's like the crux of it. But there were some things we had to shift around in the products, and certainly some process changes. People had to learn how to pitch better and those sorts of things. But I'm like, those are relatively minor shifts. What's exciting really is the business opportunities and kind of fundamental strategy shifts that I think people get to take on.
It's so interesting when you say shifts, right? I saw, and by the way, I'm probably going to get it, not completely wrong, but not exactly right. Jeff Bezos had done an interview, and it was about, his success and how he, what he did. And what he said, it was along the lines of, you have to be flexible, right? So you'll see things happen. You have to be willing to adapt and be flexible, but always keep your eye on the prize at the end of the day. Again, he didn't say it in those exact words, but the gist of it was, always stay focused on your goal, right? Nothing's going to knock you off course, but you can't be too rigid. You have to be flexible to adapt on what happens on the way. And it's exactly the same. You look at, in our case, ULA, which is a management tax. You look at the NAR ruling. You look at, what was the off-market situation, right?
Yeah.
And you have and you have the commissions thing. It's all like thrown in to the conundrum at once, right? It's like a bunch of stuff. But the reality is, we are still there to give our clients the best experience, right? With the help of, really genuinely your company, right? But at the same time, it's like all these things are going to happen. We're just going to adapt. We're going to change our systems, like you said. We're going to adapt around it and become stronger and better as a result of it. And I feel that it's just about that adaptation. It's about being not too rigid. It's about adapting to changes and coming out stronger at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So true, guys. There's so many agents that will look at the glass as being half empty, and they will just sit and moan and complain and, oh my God, and they won't adapt. And you know what? They're going to be the ones that struggle. And then you're going to get the agents that are the forward thinkers, that are 3 steps ahead, not 5 behind, and the glass is half full, and they're willing and ready to make change. And as you said, Joe, they're ready to capitalize and win on change.
Yeah.
And whether we like it or we don't like it, you can't look back in the past. You can't control the future. You can now focus on now. And this is what we've got. And you know what? We're going to go make the most of it, and we're going to capitalize on the opportunity. And I hate to say it, but with major changes like the ones we've just seen, it's going to push a lot of agents out of our industry. You threw a stat out a little earlier. There's, I think, 1.5 million licensed agents in America. The last stat I heard was 1.8 million. So, okay, we've lost 300,000. So it's all how you look at it and what you make of it. So it's definitely an interesting topic. It's not going anywhere. And it leads me to the next question, which is, what are your thoughts on the real estate industry playing out in Q4 of this year? And what's your outlook for 2025? What are you guys seeing, trends, etc.?
That's a great question. We all wish we had the crystal ball. You should see some of my decks to my board. I walk this line of trying to have a crystal ball, but like hedge it as well. I feel like I'm getting better and better at that.
That's a thin line to walk right there.
It is. It's one of these. Look, I would say a couple of things. I think I would say, as you've heard me kind of iterate here, I would just say, you feel the momentum. You feel this noticeable shift. I don't know if you guys do as well, but I think you feel this momentum and shift. Mm-hmm. And that's true not just in the space. I think that's just true in the economy. Rates, with the direction of rates and many of the kind of dynamics out there, it'll be great to get past an election cycle.
Please.
Kind of get that one behind us too, please. But you feel this noticeable shift. You also see this shift toward professionalization. No question, some of the folks that are in the space today will not be here forever. I think many and most will be here for the long haul, and I think they'll see much more profitable years. But I think it will be via change and professionalization and finding value in places that maybe they've struggled to offer value in the past. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of, how do I really embrace these unique value kind of areas for me as a business, I think is a really important concept for folks. I think shiny object shopping is going to be a lot less important for them.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like that exciting of an activity these days to shiny objects shop. I think it's like find your tech, find your platform, find your services that you attach to that, and really develop on your unique value props, really develop on your processes and professionalization. And then I think you're going to see, we've already been seeing it, and frankly, I've been saying it for like 7 years. The battle for the consumer and the relationship with the consumer, we call that the sacred relationship in the space. The battle for that is so real. And if people aren't totally clear about where they're sourcing their business, how they're running their funnels, how they're running their business, they will wake up one day and realize they have no equity in their business. And so I think that's going to get even more real over the next, kind of 12 to 24 months. So those are some of the trends, but momentum, I think, is there. A little bit of tailwind, a little breath in the sail.
A little turbulence as we're flying.
A little turbulence still, yeah. I don't know. What do you guys see?
As far as our market goes, I'm hugely optimistic because everyone's like, okay, you get the commissions lawsuit, you get the NAR situation, you get all these things throughout ULA, you get whatever it is. They're all whatever, you get used to them. But what really created a slower market over the last 2 years were interest rates. It's as simple as that. Cost of money and opportunity cost, right? The cost of money goes up, it's more expensive for me to qualify and buy a property. At the same time, if I'm not one to get a mortgage, then the opportunity cost is too high because I can put my money in a checking account and get over 5% risk-free effectively, remove it any time. So the reality is, in my opinion, that single-handedly affected the market, affected sales, affected the way people thought about the market. People are just waiting for the bottom. They're just waiting. So there's a standoff effectively with buyers for the aforementioned reasons. Now we see rates going down. It's the opposite of what we saw 2 years ago.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It's literally the opposite. That alone. Okay. We talk about elections. We talk about politics. Fine. No problem. Okay. We'll do well whether Kamala wins or Trump wins. It's just a fact of life. Okay. That's just, people need to buy real estate. People want to buy real estate. I think that the fact that rates are going down is huge. That's
Yeah.
it. The bottom's
drive the
up.
bump.
It's
Yeah.
all going to go up from now. It's just a fact. It is. And I'm talking about residential. Commercial is a different story, but residential specifically, right? And I feel personally really, really good about that because this is what we wait for, right? It's, oh God, rates are
The
going
moment.
up.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
that tipping.
okay,
Yeah.
boom. I think it's huge, and I think we're going to have our best years ahead of us. I actually have no doubt whatsoever, and I'm not just saying that because we're on a podcast and we're realtors, and you create a real estate software. It's the truth, right? If we were speaking 2 years ago, I'd be like, okay, we're going to have shaky times ahead of us because rates are going up. Rates are going down, and mortgages are becoming cheaper. The opportunity cost of having your money in the bank is going down. This is brilliant. I feel good, really good.
Yeah.
I love that. I think as well, as an agent, we're not reinventing the wheel here, right? The fundamentals are right in front of us. If the cost of debt's here, less people are going to buy. But if the cost of debt's here, more people are going to buy. It's that simple. And then we know supply and demand, right? I think we're all sitting very pretty. If you're a real estate agent right now and you're not capitalizing on the rate reduction and you're not capitalizing on what's to come, you're probably in the wrong industry. I say it to everyone on our team. We're all CEOs of our own business, right? No one's paying us a salary. We're 1099. So if we're not going out and we're not making the most of every second of every day to capitalize, then we're probably in the wrong industry. And that brings me to this, Joe. You're a CEO now for 16 years or over 16 years with one company. You're learning a lot every day. You're navigating through the tech world the same way that we're navigating through our world. What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned as a CEO of Inside Real Estate?
Good question. Look, you said it yourself a second ago with the kind of, you talk about to your team about how they are CEOs of their own business. I talk to my team a lot that way as well. We've got over 600 people on the team here, and I frequently will tell them, look, everyone here is a CEO. Put your CEO hat on, right? And so we believe strongly in kind of that mentality. There's a few principles I like to run on personally. One of them is kind of believe about 10 to 20% of what you hear. Like, there's lots of headlines, there's lots of streams. This one you should listen to 100%. The other, many others, but believe about 10 to 20% of what you hear. Do the math yourself. And that to me is a way of saying I've always tried to understand the problems that I have in front of me deeply. Because if you're leaning on someone else to interpret your problem, you often just don't understand it and can't solve it. And so do the math yourself. You got to think deeply about your strategy, your partners, and your UVP, your unique value prop. If you don't, again, it's back to that point of like, if you don't understand it, if you're not like deeply clear on it, no one else is either. Mm-hmm. You lead your business and your systems and processes drive it. Like, you don't drive your business, your systems and processes do. Don't be afraid to outwork your competition. We love that one. I'm not any smarter. I'm not any better. I'm probably fatter and uglier. It's like but you can outwork them, and that's a thing. And then you got to serve and love and kind of lead with that. I think it kind of starts and ends with that. And if you don't, then it'll shine through, and you'll just be kind of money grubbing. And so those are kind of some of the principles that I think drive me. But look, I think we're all out there jamming on it, and there's a ton of opportunity. It's an exciting time.
I agree. Amen. And it's funny, even with us, is that what do? We sell houses, right? Everyone has a different way of doing it, but the same thing is we sell houses. And it's just like, it was already a proven industry. We're not Elon Musk. We're not reinventing the wheel, with all respect, right? This is us.
Yeah.
It's just like all we needed to see was that there are successful people in our industry. That was enough for me personally. It was like, okay, if they can do it, we can do it. There's no excuse.
Yeah.
And I always say those three things. It's like, we're never going to give up. We're never going to kind of, be totally unethical. Well, we're not going to be unethical and screw people over, which is a very short-lived, existence, even if you are that way inclined. And we're going to make mistakes, but we'll learn from those mistakes. And literally just those three concepts is enough. It's like there's really no excuse not to get to the top of your game.
Love that.
And that's it. It's as simple as that. It's there for the taking, is what I'm saying. It's proven. I thank those agents that we looked up to, and we still do from the get-go, because they really paved the way. And I'm sure they once looked up to other agents that paved the way for them. And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, amen to that. Love that.
Amen to that. That is a good place to end this incredible segment. We appreciate having you on, Joe. And
thank you, Joe, so much.
Thanks so much for having me on, guys. I appreciate it, James and David.
Of course. And just to say thank you to everybody for tuning in and for listening. And we appreciate all of our listeners. Wherever you're watching or listening to these podcasts, whether it be on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts, be sure, guys, to go like, subscribe, follow for more from Rise Above the Ranks in Estate Media, and leave us a comment with who you would like to see in future episodes. Joe, thank you again, and we look forward to continuing further conversations with you in the future.
Thank you,
David. Thanks, David.